Matt, you're up. Matt chose 9 works from 6 venues. He was the most ventured out and made the most choices around town.
Okay, I guess thematically going into this, I sort of view art collecting the same way that I view making art. I am a materials-based artist. I use a lot of found object, I use a lot of own production materials, and for reference, it's right there. It's that one. So that's my reference. But part of the reason I use those materials, and part of the process of using those materials, is that those things have to come to me, right? So in October, I made a piece with a wheel in it, a bicycle wheel. And the best way I can explain it to you is that if I want to make a piece with a bicycle wheel, I can't go to Savers and buy an old bike and take the wheel off. The wheel has to come first. And when I say that, it's not like a self-imposed process. It's just how the process works, you know what I mean? And so a lot of my art collecting in the not fantasy world is really kind of a philosophy of if it comes to me, I'm supposed to have it. Or put better the way my son's kindergarten teacher said that if you get what you get, then you don't throw a fit. So when I'm seeking art, I think everybody does this. I think everybody connects memory and association with art collection. I think it's one of the biggest things about what draws us to artworks. And for me, it's a very similar process. These are the pieces I would purchase over the last 2 months, based on these artists as people, these artists as folks I have relationships with, these artists as folks who I think are growing and doing exciting work and are part of something that's happening in Rochester and the greater area. So,
Can you go back?
Yeah, can you go back? This is Michelle Miller. Michelle Miller is a collage artist and art therapist. A lot of her work draws upon materials and sort of exists in a surrealistic landscape. She's an art therapist, so a lot of her work is sort of a purging and a reflection on both her own inner monologue and also kind of the experience of working with her clients. As someone who taught special ed for many, many years, I kind of, and as someone who's a collage artist, I can kind of really understand how art could be used to sort of purge your inner demons, you know. And that's what I really like about Michelle's work. It's a therapeutic process, and I love it for art. This is artist Mr. Wright, and I don't know a lot about Mr. Wright. I chose this work for 2 reasons. It's located next door right now, Frank's Chop Shop, which is the other side of the wall. And one of the reasons I chose this work is petty, and the other one is important. So I'm going to do the other one first. But Mr. Wright is a visual artist and graffiti artist from Baltimore. And what brings him to Baltimore is that he's part of an interconnected network of artists who are doing extremely exciting contemporary work out of Rochester. He's part of a community of artists that includes hip-hop artists like Eto and 38 Special and Benny the Butcher. And if you don't know these names, your kids do. But part of the reason I thought it was important to represent this artist and this thing is that these artists are doing something very exciting in and out of and beyond Rochester. Like Benny's in Buffalo, Eto is right here. And there's, in my opinion, there's not a lot of venues that are really hosting this work. Like a lot of the work is happening in New York City, it's happening in Buffalo, it's happening in LA, but they all come from a network and community that runs through Rochester or they're still actively here, you know? So I like Mr. Wright's, I like using his work as an example because he's part of that network, but he's also not a Rochesterian. And I like how Frank's is sort of creating a home for that type of work and bringing in artists from out of town as well as in town. And the petty reason is that, so I curate and do art installation there, and I just want to buy this and put it in a beautiful frame, and then properly bring it back to Frank's and hang it on the wall and say, see? So that's why I'm buying this one. This is artist Julie Chen, and Kyra Allen is within the installation. And this is a combination of a performance of something that Julie made. It's a lot to explain, but essentially what you're looking at is a sort of kind of a, what's the word, animistic sort of embodiment of this deity that sort of represents grief and loss. All of that clothing is part of a broader project that Julie did for writers and books, where people gave her garments of the recently deceased, and specifically the garments that, like, you can't get rid of, you know, like the boxes of things that when people pass, you don't know what to do, you know? And so she collected a number of those garments and created this beautiful installation at Writers and Books. And as you guys can see, it's the final piece is something that can be worn and performed. And what I really like about the idea of buying this work is how Julie's working with another artist to sort of bring this vision to life, and also the fact that it exists as a photograph. I think a lot about artists like Crystal, you know, he makes his gates where he wraps a fence and it's like miles and miles long. And you're like, geez, Crystal, how do you sell a fence, you know? And the answer is that he made most of his money and most of his career off of sketches of the work and drawings of the work, or taking pictures of the work and wrapping them up. There's a famous, I won't tell you because I know it's fine, but I'm not going to do it, but ask me after. But I just really like the idea of, like, how do you make something and then create something that you can share? You know, people, that is at an affordable price point. With Miller Bagley. Hallelujah. Inspired Insomnia, 12, Striders of the Snow, Silence of the Corn. The reason I point out the title of this one is that Luda takes this very serious, dramatic, you know, subject matter most of the time, and then will kind of give you the dichotomy of, like, the drama and the comedy and the tragedy. And I don't know, what I really like about Luda's work is that Luda has been growing as an artist over the last few years, and she keeps surprising me. And this was another one that surprised me. This is at the Art Collective and was part of a membership that just came down. Love the pen work, love the line work. I love how the deer is hiding in the background, and I just love watching her work develop. Annalisa Barron, I cheated. Annalisa takes such beautiful shots of her work, and mine are so bad. So I took this one. This is at Gallery 4-8 on the 4th floor at Anderson Alley, where Annalisa has an installation of a couple of recent works up here. I think that I make two-dimensional, like, relief works most of the time, and I think a lot about medium, and what I love about Annalisa's work is that she's a sculptor, right? And she's a sculptor who paints, and in her paintings, it's still sculpture, even though it's flat. Annalisa, her work from the surface all the way to the gooey middle is like considered in a way that not every artist is getting there, you know, like, and I'll pick on myself, like, I'll use acrylic paint, but I don't know if it's native, you know, I don't know if it's gonna last 300 years or what, you know, because I work with a lot of mediums, but Annalisa, went to France to collect dirt and grind this into pigment, and she uses the best material, she frames things herself, and this thing, I wish you guys could see the frame for it too, because it really captures the whole install. And I just really admire her work, I admire her process, and I admire her ability to consider everything. Hey, look at that one. This is another one. So I framed a lot of Erica Brown's work, and I didn't frame this one. And I was like, I'm framing this one. It's beautiful. Fortunately, I found out Erica framed it herself, so it's okay. But part of the reason I want this one is because it's so beautifully framed. But you guys can't see the frame. Walk over there and look at it. I'm so jealous of Erica. Her process is beautiful, and I wish I could find something similar. I've seen Erica work. It's a giant folding table with just she picks by color, right? So she just cut to National Geographic, matching palettes, matching palettes, right? And then she just puts it together, and it's all so reckless and carefree and expressionistic, and it comes together into these just like beautiful weavings and narratives. And the narratives, she's like a true surrealist because these are all dreams. Sometimes they're her dreams, and other times they're collected through a process she calls the Department of Dream Collection, which is awesome. So I don't know. I love how Erica's work is able to tap right into that unconscious place where art lives, but also give you like a very clear narrative, you know? So, Ripka, the title of this work is Venus Decomposing. It's over there next to the red wagon, but I could not get a shot without the red wagon, so I cheated again. And this is actually from, what I love about Ripka's work is that Ripka is another artist who's exploring a lot of places, and she's doing something really successful in this piece that I'm trying to do myself, which is to mix collage along with different mediums to create something transformative. That's what I love about Ripka's work in this piece specifically, is the transformative nature of the materials. And I strongly encourage everybody to take a look at it on the way out and dig into it. I also have, I have a personal connection to this work. I did a show last year called Thaw, and Ripka entered this work. We unfolded it when it came in person to the show, and this person who's not a curator who saw it audibly screamed when she saw it, and it was just a great moment. But also it won an award. It won the Tom Van Buren Award for Creativity, and I just thought it was so cool to see it up here again, and then it also won an award. So the people have spoken twice. Everybody loves Ripka Venus Decomposing. Joseph Palladino
You
is.
spelled my name wrong, man.
I'm sorry. No, it's my fault. It's one L, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still changing it?
No, I'm not changing.
Sorry, Joey. Wow, that really threw me off. Never mind, I hate it. Take it off with it. No. What I like, so Joey's a collage artist and photographer, and what I like about his work is that when you look at his photographs and his collages, they kind of live in the same place. A lot of his collages will be sort of just two images that are perfectly cut and then matched together in a way where you're looking at a landscape and then you realize the background is a surface level, and it has this incredibly subtle approach. In Joey's photography, what I really like about this one is it kind of speaks to that same world, because he's using reflection, and he is sort of, it seems like his photographs peruse something else to kind of veil the image. And I just like how Joey, Palladino with an L, blends worlds, or with one L, blends worlds together. Aiden Sophia Earle. What I like about Aiden is, I mean, found object is my jam, and I absolutely love how Aiden builds the canvas and the image at the same time. I really enjoy producing materials. I love her process, and I love the palettes that come from it. My favorite thing to tell people about Aiden, who she will tell you herself, is that Aiden's a former prop designer and costume designer for Saturday Night Live. And her big claim to fame is that she is the inventor and constructor of the Diggin' Box.
So Matt, you spent about $7,350 out of the 10, average of $871. Did you learn something about yourself through that? You're certainly very articulate about what you chose and why you chose it. As you look back on this, is there something that's occurred to you in the retrospectively?
Yeah, I think the thing that really came to me on reflecting on it is how much of it, I mean, I think of how other artists I know interact with their work and what they collect, and a lot of artists I know don't hang their own art, really, you know, and I think that what I learned from this current work is that I want to kind of wrap myself in and soak myself in like the moves that I respect and want to emulate, and I think that's kind of what art does when it lives in our home, is we kind of give and absorb energy from it, you know, we draw inspiration from it, we read it, whether we're actively reading it just by being around it and having it influence us. So for me, I want to be influenced by a room full of moves that are the kind of moves I want to make, you know? So I guess that's what I saw in the whole collection.
I have a theory that some of the best collections are owned and collected by artists. Artists have a wonderful eye. They have a particular sensibility about what they're collecting that non-artists have to acquire in a different way. I mean, you do this kind of through your bones, but I'm not a maker, so when I am purchasing work, it's from a totally different point of view, and it's only over time that you can sort of assess what that feels like and looks like for you. So that's really great. Thank you for being willing to share that all with us. So let's just take a minute and say thank you. If you want to, I want to run what I'm calling a lightning round of the game.